Welcome, everyone, to the Scaling Smart podcast, where we bring together industry leaders, entrepreneurs, and innovators to discuss their key insights, their strategies, and the experiences that have driven success both for themselves and their customers. I'm Billy Mitchell, your host, and today I'm excited to introduce a special guest. We have Brandi Bernoskie, who's the owner and chief alchemist for Alchemy&Aim.com. That is a website development and digital strategy company helping thought leaders, entrepreneurs, and change makers build purposeful online platforms that amplify their impact to support sustainable growth. That's a mouthful. Tripped over a couple of the words, but that's all right. Brandy, I really appreciate you joining us today. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me here, Billy.
Yeah, it's going to be a good conversation. We're in similar markets, so I think it's going to be a good, fruitful conversation. As a reminder to our audience, as well as you, we break this up into three primary categories. First, we want to get to know you and your organization, bit of the history of Brandy, how you got to where you're at, and what you're up to. We also want to dive into your industry and the ideal client. So, who are you working with? What's the overall industry look like? Just to prep you. I kind of like to know and see where your understanding and vision of the future is, where we headed in the market. And then finally, growth and scale, which is kind of the meat and potatoes of the call, which is what have you guys done to grow? What's maybe not worked? What are you testing out now? Some tips and tricks for growth and scaling the organization. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Awesome. All right. What I like to do is start with a bit of an elevator pitch. So give me a 90-second overview, can be a couple minutes, of what you guys do, who you are. Just give us that sales pitch.
Absolutely. So we focus on websites with clients, primarily the design, development, but a lot goes into obviously the strategy before we can start getting into the design and development. And the way we look at strategy is a little different because we understand that the website is part of an ecosystem and that the business owner is also part of that ecosystem. I'm often looking at where is the business owner spending their time, what can we get the website potentially to do for them that they may not have thought about. Even when these are like larger businesses, so often there are untapped potentials that they think the website can just do one little piece of the puzzle, but there's actually a whole host of things that we can make it do for them to actually help them grow and scale their business and take things off of either their plates or team members' plates and really create a more human experience overall. So
That's awesome. I love that. Let's take a step back. How about Brandy? How'd you get to where you're at? Tell us a little bit about your resume and your background, where you
yeah,
guys are at.
it was a very circuitous, winding path. I actually started teaching myself how to code when I was in grad school. I was in grad school for a PhD in philosophy. I have degrees in philosophy, physics, religion, theater. So very kind of different background. But I was a blogger, honestly. Like I was a blogger who wanted to mess with my own websites, and my background in physics and in math allowed me to have kind of a basic understanding of some of the coding language. And I really just started messing with things and left grad school without the PhD. Ended up doing some work for a nonprofit and was just helping friends on the side, and eventually realized that could turn into something. I just thought I'd end up being like a freelancer. And I found out that you could be a business owner, and I was actually a better business owner entrepreneur than I was a freelancer, and I'm a better strategist than I am a developer. And we have phenomenal team members as the years have grown who really know how to code things. So I get to like stay in that strategic piece with clients.
That's exciting. And just from our pre-recording conversation, I'm not surprised in the education background, as I know you're an avid reader. Um, and I think what you told me is a little over 200 something books a year, or last year you read
Yeah,
250 something.
240, 250 last year. I'm
It's
not
incredible.
nearly on track. That was a very particular year. I would say this year I'm probably going to hit around like 150, 160. Still good.
Still impressive. Still impressive. And yeah, just the continual search for knowledge, I think, is important. And the good way to do that is obviously through the book. So that's awesome. And you mentioned working with nonprofits, and I was taking a look at your website, seeing who you guys are working with, and I love that nonprofit is a an area that you serve. Let's dive into the industry and your ideal client. So who do you serve? Give us a little bit of that avatar and how are you working with them more on a day-to-day basis? And then we'll jump into the industry.
Yeah, so very often we are working with organizations and businesses that are probably at somewhere between 25 to 100 people. We're not working with like the big Fortune 100s or anything like that, but they're at that point where they have accomplished a good deal on their own and they're really looking to level up to the next level and really start to think more intentionally about what experience they're crafting on their website and how to create more human to human connection is really what it comes down to. So that's really where we spend a lot of time with our clients is helping them understand, yes, the website's a great tool and there's a lot that we can automate, but with automation doesn't mean we're not losing the human connection. With automation, we're actually enhancing it with good
Hmm.
messaging, with like getting people to where they need to be faster so that they can be served in the right ways and that they can really learn about the opportunities, services, whatever it is that the business or organization has to offer. And we've never niched down into a particular industry. We do nonprofits. We have a lot of authors and speakers, interior design, law firms, biotech. It's actually, I find it to be a lot of fun that I get to learn little bits here and there about so many different businesses and it keeps us on our toes and it also allows us to synthesize information differently so that we're not just doing the same thing over and over again.
Very cool. So if a customer's coming to you today, generally, what's kind of the entry point for working with you? What's one of the main pain points that they're trying to solve? Is it my website doesn't align with, really the brand and the voice and the work we do? Is it more so that they don't have a website yet, or the strategy as a whole? What's kind of the entry point for you and a customer?
In some cases, they don't have a website, but more often it's that the website is no longer reflecting the truth of who they are or who their business or organization has come to be. Like they've gone through an evolution, the business has gone through an evolution. They have a deeper understanding of who they're working with, who their ideal client is, and that's not being reflected in either the visual experience or the messaging anymore. So usually that's an indication that it's time to level up. And so often they don't, again, they don't know what's possible for that leveling up. They know that maybe that they needed to look differently and they need the message to be differently, to work differently for them. Um, but there's actually more that we can do beyond just visuals and messaging. There's usually a whole host of back end things that we can really dive into to understand where they, again, spending their time, what are the possibilities of really, kind of setting them up for more scale faster because they've got better technology and integrations to work with them.
Awesome. So thinking about your industry, and it's funny because I used to say a long time ago, right? We'd look out next 5 and 10 years. Um, I think that's silly now. So I want to ask you, thinking about the industry you're in, and let's also personalize it to your organization. Where are we headed in the next 3 years? Maybe 5 years at the most. And what are you guys doing to position yourself for where the industry is going?
Yeah, so obviously AI is hugely upsetting, not in a bad way. I think it's in a very good way of, but it's changing how we do business and where time is invested, where it's put. So certainly, as a team, we've been diving into like where can we use AI to shrink timelines, shorten work that we have to do. Um, where is it best used? Where do we still need real human beings? With clients, we're looking at a lot of like custom GPTs and examining like what's possible for actually integrating into the website so that, again, customers and clients are having a better experience there. That's what I really want. And then certainly, we've seen I feel like just this year, we've seen a huge shift from SEO to AI search optimization
Right,
because so many of us are now using AI to find what we need to find instead of standard searching on, browsers and search engines.
right.
So it's really the nice thing is that there's a lot of techniques that we've actually now started to develop kind of an AI search optimization offering for our clients because it has become so critical. But also it's just constantly understanding how the technology is changing, which it is. What we need to
Yeah.
do for the AI to be found is a little different than standard SEO. Doesn't replace it in kind of complete ways. Like, you still need like good content with real keywords so that you can be
Yeah.
found. But I think it's kind of, right now, I feel like I can't predict 6 months out. If I had guessed at the beginning of this year what would happen, I don't know if I would be able to. So I think it's just staying constantly on top of like what's possible, how quickly is the technology developing, because it's going to come in and it's going to make big differences. And the way I look at it is that anytime we use AI with clients, it allows for a more in-depth human-to-human conversation. So even
Yeah.
when clients come on board with us and we give them the initial strategy work, we are doing that through AI. But that means I get to have a deeper conversation with them. And that excites me. I don't have to ask them the simple questions because we've had AI ask them those
Right.
questions. And we can go deeper and get more done together.
Yeah, I like that perspective, and I would agree with that. Chat is really my right hand um, solution to get prepped and ready and do the research. And then you're absolutely right. It helps you to be more intentional on that call because you've done that groundwork. Um, Sub-related, Chat GPT just came out with a new web browser. I'm not sure if you saw that, but it's called Atlas. And I'm going to tell you right now, as soon as I started using it, I have not gone back to Chrome. So I am all in on it, and it's really, really cool. So you're absolutely right. It is hard to predict what's coming in the next 6 months. So um, all that to say, let's jump into the sales, the marketing, the growth, and the scale. How are you guys growing the organization? And I would say, a little bit of time into what have you guys done that didn't work, and what are you guys really focused on moving into the future?
Yeah, so there's two areas that we're primarily focused on. One is the AI search optimization, because we are seeing a lot of people come to us completing the initial contact form on our website and telling us that they found us via ChatGPT or another, AI search feature. So we are kind of doubling down on that, making sure that we have the right structures and content in place to show up in the right ways for the right people. I think that's really critical. So spending a lot of time there. And then, the business started out based upon relationships that I had built. And I think as much as you want to dive into new technology and invest there, I think it's always important to constantly be investing in new relationships and in people and in organizations, and making connections, because no matter what happens, those connections will be there and those people will show up for you. If you are, again, I'm very relationships based. I'm never looking to just be transactional with people. I want to see everyone succeed, and certainly everyone in my network. And then my network has come through again and again and again. And so I'm always looking at what do we need to do to deepen relationships and to serve our clients better, to serve our collaborators better, to support them sometimes as they're going through difficulties, and transition points and pivots in their own businesses as well. So it's kind of like a little bit of the technical stuff I think is always useful, but then also balancing that with the very human to human piece.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in partnerships, right? If you have a set of customers and I have a set of customers and I can add value to yours and you can add value to mine, there's no better and easier way to grow than seeing who we can support and help across that line. Um, and oftentimes those clients, those partnerships are the strongest ones ever. And they last for a long time because you mutually uh, focused on the success of the client because it helps both of you guys. So I'm all about that as well. And I think relational uh, equity is really important, giving before you get and being able to serve and support others, uh, I think has been really powerful for growth for us too. It's funny because our agency, we don't do a lot of digital marketing per se. We do content and we'll be interacting on LinkedIn and stuff, but you're absolutely right. The majority of it is through that handshake. And in fact, I was just in Georgia meeting with one of my partners this last week, just spending time, chatting, having a good time, and um, I love it. It's good. All right, I didn't prep you for this, but
Okay.
I have a lightning round. It's easy, it's fun. I'm just going to ask you a couple random questions. First thing that comes to your mind. Feel free to spend a few more seconds on a couple of these, but with that, and you ready? You okay with that?
Yep, let's do it.
Awesome. All right, first one, coffee or tea?
Tea.
Yeah. I'm coffee. I've got the Kirkland cold brew. Man, that has been lifesaver. I love those things. All right, what's one tool or system you rely on to keep your organization running smoothly?
Very oddly, I use a bullet journal, so like a plain paper
Oh, cool.
notebook, but I am like fastidious with its use, and
Yeah,
I feel like it captures everything that comes out of my head.
that's
So,
cool.
not as much technology, but for me, having the balance of using technology and then using something very physical to get things out is really helpful.
There is an amazing power in actually physically writing something.
Yes.
The connection from your brain through your arm there, it's not the same as typing something out. It's really
That's so
interesting.
true.
All right, my next question I'm realizing as I'm about to ask it is potentially impossible. So, whatever is the first to come to your mind, I think is what I want to hear. What's your favorite book, podcast, or resource that's influenced your business growth, or just you personally?
Yeah, I mean, certainly I would say if I have to choose one book that I would tell everyone to read, it's always The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, because I just feel like that's a great little story about um, being able to see the magic in the world around us. And I think that's really important that we don't lose that sight of
Okay.
as much
Yeah,
as we're mired in the day to day and things can look like they're going wrong, like there's goodness at work for all of us.
yeah, that's good. I like that. All right, maybe another little bit of a challenging one, but what's one of the biggest challenges you've faced in your career, and how has it shaped what you're doing now?
Um, I feel like I've, this to be a business owner is to face challenges on a
Yeah,
regular
exactly.
basis.
Yeah.
I think some of the challenges I faced with team early on were the most challenging, mainly because I had never hired team members before, like at the very beginning. And so I didn't understand that people couldn't read your mind and they didn't necessarily have the same standards that you have for getting the work done. And it was a real kind of process to learn how to extrapolate the standards from my head
Yeah.
into documentation that I could hand to people and be like, this is how I need it done. This is what done and done really well looks like to me. So I had definitely some hiccups early on of like hiring people, being like, oh, that doesn't look, that website does not look the way I think it should look. And figuring out how to be able to articulate and express the standards that I hold because they're very high standards.
I
And at the
gotcha.
same time, not make them feel impossible for people because they're not.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Well, okay, couple more here. What is one bucket list item you've already checked off?
I mean, in the world, it was this year I got to go to Egypt and see the pyramids, and we actually, the little group I was with had a private visit at the Sphinx. So a lot of people don't get to
Cool.
touch the paws of the Sphinx, and we got to do that. It was being in Egypt and seeing what I got to see. I mean, like bucket list, but then there were things there that I didn't even know should be on my bucket list for Egypt. So
Yeah. Yeah. Um, that's really cool and resonates with me. Almost 20 years ago, I actually lived in Egypt for about 5 months, 4.5 months. So I went to the pyramids a couple times,
nice.
and it was really fun. I got to live like a local and run around town, and um, it is an amazingly cool place to be. There's just something about it when you're out there. I can't really put my hand on it, but some of the most amazing people, great food.
Yeah.
Very, very cool area. So I love that. I'd love to go back too. All right. What is a goal that you're still working on?
Really, right now it's developing my core team members as leaders in their own right. Um, I'm planning to kind of not step away from the business, but to step back and Partly that's because of a move that I have coming up overseas, and partly it's because I know my team can be. I mean, I've seen what they can do. They're amazing, and I want them to shine more.
Cool.
So that's my next kind of phase that I'm getting into with them, which is really exciting.
I love that. And finally, Brandy, if anybody wants to get a hold of you, what's one of the best ways to do that?
LinkedIn, certainly. I mean, the nice thing is I actually am the only person with my name in apparently the world, so you can find me very easily on LinkedIn. Or if you want to connect with me, you can always go to alchemyaim.com and find the contact page. I read all those submissions. So
I love it. That's awesome. Thanks so much for joining us today. And for everybody else, that's a wrap of this episode of Scaling Smart. I'm your host, Billy Mitchell, and I want to thank you for tuning in to the Scaling Smart podcast, where we have conversations with real people who have real stories, who have learned how to scale smart.